Amsterdam, yes, let's talk about it because it is a watershed moment in trust of Western populations in their political leaders and media. It really is a biggie because yesterday saw gaslighting on a level that we just really have not seen before, but it all started coming a cropper today. The basic story is very simple. An Israeli football club was playing a Spanish football club in Amsterdam. The Israeli football club, their fans already had an extremely bad reputation for being outright racist and thuggy. So there were some people who were trying to keep them out, but it happened anyway, they came. And reports from Amsterdam were that they were thuggish from the outset. They were looking for fights up and down carriages. They were threatening people, and they were ripping down Palestinian flags wherever they saw them and harassing people. And then during the game, when there was a 1 minute silence for victims of the Valencia flood, they were whistling and letting off fireworks and that kind of stuff, basically annoying everyone. But it really kicked off when these fans, these hooligans from this Israeli club, and you can get hooligans from any country in the world, decided to attack a taxi driver. And taxi drivers are well connected, and so they called in their friends, and lots of other people were called in, and basically these Israeli football hooligans got a whipping. And that should be it. That should be the end of the story. The individuals who were violent on the Israeli side should be charged, and those that then went to try and persecute further all Israeli football fans in the city in thuggish ways should also be prosecuted, pulled in by the law. However, that's not quite what happened, because you immediately had hyperventilating from the Israeli government and the press that this was somehow anti-Semitic attacks, purely on the basis of anti-Semitism, of Israeli sports fans in Amsterdam. And this was reminiscent of pogroms, and this was reminiscent of the dark days of Europe, and was this the start of another Holocaust, and all this Uber Karen stuff, which is just absurd. Unfortunately, however, Western press picked that up at face value and ran it right around the Western world. Similarly, many leading politicians around the Western world picked it up and expressed their distress at the anti-Semitism and echoed the Israeli language of pogroms. Everyone was using the word pogroms. It's almost like there's shared messaging that no one can think originally. They just say what everyone else says. Anyway, it was pogroms here and pogroms there, without knowing what the hell pogroms were. It's certainly not thuggy gangs, just seeking a sort of revenge about a football match or beating up a friend. Anyway, it was insane to see Ursula von der Leyen, who's meant to be president of the European Union, and Joe Biden and Blinken and David Lammy, Foreign Secretary of the UK, all using the same language, entirely one-sided and completely out of context. For many people who were watching the actual videos of what had happened on social media, none of this chimed true, and it felt like absolute gaslighting on the part of world leaders and also mainstream media. Now, because there was so much pushback on social media, with new evidence coming to the fore, not least the police in Amsterdam saying the provocative things for the whole incident were the destruction of property by the Israeli football fans, and also the beating up of the cab driver and setting light to Palestinian flags, and chants of there are no schools in Gaza because all the children are gone. There are no children anymore. All of that. even though when that evidence came through, then everyone started calling it out and the main news outlets started changing their tune. But it is an absolute moment of rejection by the public at large of the politico-media nexus in the Western world globally that all echoes the same messaging, oftentimes in a knee-jerk way, without the proper research that we would expect from news organizations and politicians. And so the pushback and the almost revolution that you're seeing now against what is usually the shot callers in Western thinking is phenomenal to see. It's really shown up bad journalism, taking a lead from the Israeli government, and politicians copying each other vapidly. And people found this to be so offensive and egregious. I mean, already in the Netherlands, you're seeing pro-Palestine rallies absolutely rocket. You're seeing so many people challenge these politicians in mainstream media and mocking them outright on social media. It has really exposed this level of elite media political control and shown absolute rejection by large swathes of the population of that. And trust in media and trust in Western politicians is at a rock bottom. And I think that this is an absolutely fascinating moment in time in Western culture.